Hello everybody, my name is Chris Bloom and I am a product manager at Live Action. Today I am going to be going over some of the basic workflows in Omnipeek. Should be fun, let's do it. So let's go ahead and create a new capture. You saw how I did that. I could go to the file menu and bring up the capture options. I could also just say from the start page, new capture, and it will just leave the capture to disk options alone. I'll go ahead and select the adapter that I want to capture from, and I can enable all of my capture options. So first we're going to do what we call a monitoring capture, where we're doing all the analysis in real time. So we'll turn on all of these and hit OK. So let's start by hitting the Start Capture button. Then we can start working our way through the different types of analysis while the traffic is being captured. So you don't have to wait, capture the packets, analyze them later. You can certainly do that. But if you're just wanting to go in, plug it into the network, as I've done here, or capture some wireless traffic and see what's going on at the same time that you're capturing it, no problem. So let's work our way through some of these views. You can see it's not just packets. This is your typical protocol analyzer here with packets, a decode, a hex view. And of course, that's really important, but not the first thing I want to look at when I'm troubleshooting my network. I would much rather see higher level analysis and work my way down from there. So I like to start with a couple of these high-level views. This one's called Compass. By default, it's showing me utilization. You can see there's also some other options for Compass. I can show packets per second. I can show two-way latency, which is really powerful. With two-way latency, you're going to be seeing the difference between the application latency and the network latency. And most often the network doesn't have any latency. It's going to be sub-second, while the application will have some latency. So in fact, here you're seeing we've got some latency bursts here, and they're the blue. And then if I turn that off, then you can see the graph scales up. And now we're looking at the network latency, and it's sub-second. We've got like 80 milliseconds, 40 milliseconds. Yeah, okay, we've got a few bursts of 160 milliseconds, but nothing compared to the application latency, which is usually the case. So with that, you may be done. That's possibly all you need to know about Omnipeek, and you can prove that the problem is not the network, it is the application. You can then collect some evidence of that and some information that will help the application or service provider to fix their problem, because the problem typically isn't on the network. But if it was, you'd be able to see that. And then you might ask, well, okay, I've got a problem with latency, got a performance problem. It is either application or network latency. Let's drill down from there. So we could do that. We could head on over to our events. Well, we'll head to actually a view which mixes the flows with the events. In Omnipeek, we are capturing the packets, we're building those packets into flows, and we're doing analysis on those flows using over 200 different expert system diagnoses. Here's some of the experts or the diagnoses that have been done so far. You can see one just popped up, and we've got a good number of them. We've got some selective acts, and they're in order by count. So it's a good way to tell what's going on in your network. I can see I've got some slow response times there. Those are probably going to be the ones I want to look at. So using the events and being able to drill down from the event is a great workflow rather than looking at, a million or a billion packets and trying to figure it out for yourself. You can see that just by selecting an event will take me to the flows where that event was identified. So I might go to slow response time. There's a flow with slow response time. And then I can, from there, use what's called the flow visualizer. So I'll go ahead and run that. So now we're looking at the individual transactions for this flow, where I had seen in an expert event that it was saying I had slow response time. So I started from the expert. I looked at the flow. I then used the flow visualizer, and now I can clearly see that we've got a request. So the blue boxes on the left are the requests, and the green boxes on the right are the responses, so client server. And not only are we showing you the relative time and the delta time, making it very clear how long it is taking for the requests to get a response, but you can also see visually, because of the amount of space in between the request and the response, when the request takes too long, that the request is taking too long. So it becomes very evident. You can control that with this pull down here. I can say that I actually don't want any space in there. So, I could just use the delta times. Let's go and look at this one, because I'm just looking down for outliers, right? And I can see here's another slow response time. And in fact, here the expert is actually letting me know there's a slow server response time. So I'm going to go ahead and bump this back up so I can see it. And then so you see I have a request here going out. I get an ACK back in 21 milliseconds. And then it took 15.28 seconds before I actually got a response back from the server. So that's a problem. And you can see, I've got a trend going on here. Got a request going out, got an ACK coming back very fast. And then I've got a 30-second window before I get the response back, and so on and so forth. So now I'm like, okay, I see at a high level these transactions. I see I've got slow response times that are, again, application response times, because the ACKs are coming back fine. So I want to drill down into that and take a closer look. So what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and select this response time, and I'm going to go to that packet. And this is something you'll see in just about every high-level view in Omnipeek, no matter what the analysis is. You can always right-click and go to the packet that the analysis is telling you there's a situation about. So you start with high-level, and if necessary, you can then go to the packet. So I'm going to go to the packets here. There we are. I'm now on this packet where the system the expert had identified slow response time. And, I just found a needle in a haystack, right? So I can go to work here. I've clicked on it. I've got my decode. I can now, either myself take a closer look at this, or I can save information about this that I need to provide to the programmer, the service provider, or whoever it is who's going to address this problem on their end. Because I'm responsible for the network. I can't fix your application, but I can help you. I can identify it, I can prove it's your application, and provide you with information about it. So your job might be done. Of course, that's the whole idea, is to achieve MTTR, or mean time to resolution, as quickly as possible. But let's say it's not. I need to do some more work. So we looked at flows. Maybe we go back, we pop back up to the top level, and we didn't know immediately what the problem was. We're capturing traffic, and we want to just take a look at the applications. Well, in Omnipeek, we can recognize over 2,000 different applications. Of course, all the lower level protocols like, IP, TCP, UDP, on and on. But also those applications on the web over layer 7. So even though it's HTTP, we're going to tell you it's Dropbox, it's Amazon, Google Ads, whatever it is. And we can see for each one of these what the response time is. And that's huge, right? So you may not care about your Amazon traffic, and looks like it's actually pretty fast. But maybe Dropbox is important to your company for transferring files, and you're seeing that, our Dropbox average response time is 3.37. Now that's average response time, so I might want to dig into that a little bit. And it looks like there's only one client, but I might have multiple clients using Dropbox, so that was the average response time. It might be the worst. Maybe they're all bad. So I can look into that. Here's the actual flows between Dropbox and this private address, and I could right-click on any one of those. Again, I could go to the flow visualizer. We did that earlier. I could also select related packets and go from the application to the packets. Maybe I do that by flow ID. So in fact, let's do that. Let's go look. I'll highlight the packets. There's the packets for the flow. So I've drilled down from applications to packets. Now, what if I want to go the other way? What if I want to go from packets to the flow? This is a pretty unique feature. I might be down in the weeds. I'm looking at the packets. I'm like, okay, wow, I need to reset. I'm going to go back to the flow. There I am. Now I'm back at the flow for those packets. So that can be very useful as well. So in Omnipeek, you can drill down and you can drill up. Very useful. So much in here to talk about. In every one of these views, you can always right click and there's going to be a ton more analysis that you can add to the list. We can't fit them all on the screen, so we have some defaults and you decide what others you're going to go ahead and add. Let's go to the peer map. The peer map in Omnipeek, incredibly useful. Just visually, hey, it looks great, but also, who's talking to who? In the flows view, I can see each individual flow. You're going to have a client and a server, but maybe you've got a server that a lot of clients are talking to, like who's that guy? Well, I'm on my own private network, and well, that's my PC, and my PC is talking to all of these. But there's also quite a bit of other types of communication, like, this guy here looks like, DNS. Yeah. So these guys are all talking to the DNS server. So, now I know that, and I can see who's talking to who. So this is a really great visual. And once again, from any one of these, I might go, okay, this is what I was looking for. Let's select related by source or destination, back to the packet. So there we are. All right, let's keep going. Lots of things you can do with the peer map, but trying to give you a summary. Speaking of summary, we have a lot of summary stats. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse these. You can see we've got the general stats. We've got network stats, bytes, packets, utilization, things like that. Of course, if you're really going to look at utilization, you're probably going to go to Compass or the network dashboard and look at it over time. You've got your different kinds of errors, CRC, runs, oversize. Got a variety of counts. Those are the types of addresses. Size distribution, which is really important. What size packets are on your network. And you've got all those. Here, let's collapse some of these again. You've got all those different experts. Here they all are with their counts. And got some number of flows. Got the, very important, SSL types and SSL versions. You may only want 3.3 on your network, but look, I got some 3.1, may not want that. So I could filter on those and see who is doing earlier versions of SSL and go have a talk with those guys. Might need to upgrade. So that's a summary. Let's go take a look at nodes. Right now, by default, they're in just a list mode by IP, but quite often I'll go in here, change that to hierarchical, if I can even say it. And now what I'm looking at is the different subnets, so these are going to be, gateways, and these are going to be the clients that are in the gateways typically. So very useful for understanding the architecture of your network. And of course, we got the protocols. So you can now see all in excruciating detail all of the protocols that are on your network. There's not a whole lot going on here. Now these are by protocol. So, earlier we had talked about applications over HTTP. Here we're going to stop at HTTP. We're not going to, in this view, hierarchically list all of the websites, Amazon, Google, whatever. We stop at HTTP. And from here, if I wanted to go any deeper, once again, select related. Also, you notice every time I bring up that menu, there's a number of other items as well. From just about anything, I can make a filter, I can graph it. There's always going to be some selections you can do with a right click. So we talked about applications. Here they are. When I did applications in the dashboard, that was more hierarchical. This is a flat list showing the different applications. And then we also show you the different countries. This can be very useful as well for understanding, regions and how much traffic is coming from those regions. And like everything else, you could select related packets and see exactly what those regions are doing on your network. So there we go. We made it through the list of analysis. A lot more things you can do on each one, but want to keep this video fairly reasonably short. Appreciate the time you spent today. I hope you have more questions. If you do, please give us a shout at liveaction.com. My name is Chris Bloom. You can, of course, email me as well, cbloom@liveaction.com, or find me on LinkedIn. I am Space Packet. Thank you and have a nice day.